Hello and welcome back to Think in the Circle. Let's see how we go with this before we lose the light. This is going to be a video about giving you advice, giving you 10 tips I think, and I'll give you a few bonus tips at the end of how to approach a potential supervisor. And the videos that I have produced, and you'll find a playlist for PhD students and potential applicants, you'll find a lot of advice, but recently I had another spell of requests for people to read their proposals or to ask me to propose some supervisor or whether I could be the supervisor for some topics that I know nothing about. So here are my 10 tips, because I looked on YouTube and I found different advice. Some of it is good, some of it questionable. So I'm going to give you my own opinion, specific for the UK, because I think some of the advice might be for US-based institutions, which are slightly different, and the academics there have slight differences. For example, in the UK, a professor is somebody who has reached the pinnacle of their career. In America, in the US, anyone who teaches at a university is called a professor. So there will be advice from I saw a young lady saying, oh, write them an email and call them with their first name. Now, all my students call me with the first name, but because I've given them permission, not because they took permission. So if I don't know you, never met you in my life, and you send me an email that says, hey Yanis, read my PhD proposal, hey, you know what's going to happen to that email? A few UK academics have done videos and they're telling you that probably both in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, the whole of Europe, academics receive hundreds of emails each week. If it's not going to be about their day-to-day work, it's going to be about reviewing papers, reading proposals, reviewing research proposals, you name it, reviewing professorial promotion papers from people they've never heard before and universities they've never talked to before. All sorts of things hit our email. A lot of it is also marketing deals. You know, we're going to help your YouTube channel receive hundreds of hits. I couldn't care less. And if we don't know you, some universities also use very, very strict algorithms that catch any email that might look like a spam or scam or phishing. They'll grab it and they'll quarantine it. So, okay, I said enough. Let's start with my tips. Tip number 1: research your top 10 potential supervisors that align with your research. How do you do that? Well, first of all, know what your research is about, or roughly what your research is about. Let's say that your research is about strategy in, I don't know, tourism. Find academics that have published in strategy in tourism. You have to create the list of your top 10. My advice on the advice is that your first two will be from the same, you have them in pairs. The first two and then the other two, all the way to 4, are in pairs. Each two are from the same university. Why? Because quite often universities create teams with at least 2 supervisors. So if you've already identified 2 supervisors in the same university, you've done half the job. Because if you ask me, then I have to, about a proposal that is in my research area, I have to think about who might be the second supervisor. If you've done the research, and you can write in an email, I've seen your work and I've seen the work of your colleague, blah, 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 whatever the name is, already you're showing the person who's reading your email, you've done your research, you know what you're talking about. How do you find out the research publications? Very easy these days. You have ResearchGate, you have academia.edu, Google Scholar. You can find what they've published. Now, most UK universities use a system that is called PURE, P-U-R-E. And a lot of these universities that use it make your life even easier, because you can even see, there's a mapping function on PURE, where you can see where they have published, who they have published with, what their network, the research network of the particular supervisor might be. Anyway, the thing is, find your top 10 before you even think about creating that email. The second thing is that you have researched the particular university's proposal structure, and each university has slight differences. So every time you send it to a particular supervisor of a particular university, that proposal needs to be slightly changed, okay? So that is specific to that university's requirements. That's why the pairs help also, because if you have 10, you only have to change it 5 times. 5 pairs of potential supervisors. Don't email them all at once. Start with your first priority and then the second one of the same university, and tell each other that you have emailed Professor Pantelidis and Professor Smith because you share similar research inquiries. Watch out for my machine gun tip coming up. Clear subject line, headline. When you are writing that email, because in most cases you're going to communicate with email, make sure that you are stating clearly what you seek. Are you seeking advice? Are you looking for a supervisor? And make sure if you're proposing for your PhD to be self-funded, you have found the funding, or it's funded by a particular charity, or you're an academic at a university in Saudi Arabia and that university is funding you, put that in the subject headline. Already you are resolving an issue of that potential supervisor. I'm already sorted, finances are not a problem. Now let me get your interest about my research and the quality of my research and the topic of my research and the gap of my research. So a clear subject headline. A lot of people are stating this, but not many of the people who are stating advice are talking about the funding. It's important. Quite often you get requests and they say, oh, do you have funding? After 50 emails of exchange, okay, I'm exaggerating. By the third email, you get the question, oh, I don't have funding, maybe your university has funding. If my university has funding, it has been advertised on the website, including the deadlines by when you can submit. Academics are not magicians to pull funding out of their pockets every time somebody sends them an email. So be very, very careful about that. Be ready to use the snowball technique. In that email, write something in the lines that, dear Professor Pantelidis, if you don't have capacity, because quite often people have too many PhD supervisees or they have too many research projects, could you recommend somebody else from your university or any other university? Snowball. You have sent an email, make it useful for you, even if that particular person cannot supervise you. Upsell yourself. Make sure you talk about how your undergraduate dissertation or your postgraduate taught dissertation is relevant to the research that you're doing, and you already have an understanding of that research area. Or, if you don't have that, make sure that you're upselling how you have researched the area and how your proposal has identified a gap. Which brings me to my next tip, which is state the gap you think you have identified, the problem area. That aligns to the specific publications of the academy you're contacting and saying, I've identified this gap. You've written about, the gap is about blue shoes. And you've written publications about blue shoes, and then you wrote a publication about green shoes. So you moved from blue to green. But I think we should reinvestigate blue shoes because this is what I found out. The next tip I'm going to give you is, I already told you about this, about the title and the surname. So make sure you use their title. So if they're professor, if they're doctor, surname. If they answer to you and say, please just call me Yanis, great. Don't start with dear Yanis. I think the lady was saying in the advice I saw, because it makes feel like they already know you. No. If you call me dear Yanis, I'm going to say, okay, one less email. Who is this dear Yanis? Anyway, do use their title and their surname. They worked hard. If they're a doctor, call them doctor. If they're a Mrs., call them Mrs. Some universities allow people without PhD to be supervisors. In your email, be precise. Don't waffle. Don't do what I am just doing at this video. I waffled because all I've done is I've written some notes. But I've written the 10 tips, but I did waffle, I apologize. You have to be precise. Your email has to be very, very concise, explaining exactly what you're doing, and you must have two attachments. The attachments must be. What are the attachments? One attachment will be a very short CV. If you can get it to 2 pages, a research relevant CV, relevant to what you are trying to do, your PhD, and the proposal, which, as I said earlier, make sure that the proposal is specific to that university. Don't use the machine gun approach. What a lot of applicants do is they're going to find every academic of that university and they're going to send the exact same email. The number of times I get "Dear Sir," not even my name, not even, I mean, okay, if you call me Dear Yanis is a sin. If you call me Dear Sir, or somebody called me Dear Madam once, I don't know what's worse than sin. Murder! It's name murder, don't do it. Machine gun approach means these people, I don't know what they're thinking, they're emailing everybody, hoping that they're going for quantity, not quality. Go for quality. If you have done your research, you don't need the machine gun approach. You take it slowly. Also, when you have your 10, your 5 pairs if you like, the 10 supervisors, when you email the first 2, wait a week from that university before you move on to the next university. Because if you get interest from a pair, the worst thing you can do is play 2 or 3 pairs thinking I'm going to get advice from all these people, and you're wasting their time. Academics get nothing from supervising you. Okay, in most universities we don't even get hours. I'm lucky because in our university we get some hours, but we really get nothing. A young academic might use the PhD supervises for stating you have to have a certain number to get your professorship or whatever, your promotion. But truthfully, the only thing we get is pleasure. There's nothing more pleasurable than supervising a good PhD student who is researching in a similar area or an area that excites you, and they're passionate about their research, and you see them flourish. We do it for the good of our hearts because our job is hard enough as it is, and having great PhD students is the best thing that happened to an academic. Okay, so we're very choosy. It's like martial arts. You go to Bruce Lee and you say, master, be my sensei. And they say, no, I'm not going to train. They're going to choose the best student to train. So we are senseis of research because your PhD is an apprenticeship. In medieval times in the UK, you wanted to be an apprentice to a knight. Okay, so be very choosy of your supervisors and they will be choosy of you. Remember, PhD is a team effort, but you're always the one who is responsible. What have I written here? Don't ask them about funding in the first email, or if they can give you funding. And do not ask them if they can give you feedback on a half-baked proposal. Make sure that your proposal is following the structure of that university, and if you have attached it to the request email with your CV, and your email is concise and saying, here's my CV that shows why this particular research area, why I will be a good candidate, and also highlight the gap, and as I said earlier, upsell yourself. So here comes my 3 bonus tips. I think I gave you 10 tips for what to do. Bonus tips. Bonus tip 1. What have I written here? That's a good one for you. How they communicate with you, how fast or how slow, could be a good indication of how good supervisor they're going to be. Yeah. Do they use in their writing? Is there a bit of empathy? Are they kind in how they write to you? Be careful if they are a little bit. There are a few of them out there who are a little bit have a big chip on their shoulder. You'll figure it out from reading their email response, or if you never get an email response, then you can move on to the next pair. I gave you a week. I think 5 working days is a good waiting time to move on to the next pair, and then the next, and then the next. Bonus tip 2. That's a good one. You have the best chances to find a supervisory team by going to the university where you got your first degree or your postgraduate, because they know you and you know them, and you know the characters, and you know the research. You should know the research, and they know you, and you're an alumni as well. So there is a connection there. Use it. Don't start going, I want to go for Aluba Boomba Boomba University because I want to travel to the States, if you study in the UK, or vice versa. If you know the academics and you trust them, You can have early conversations with them. You know, you don't even need an email. You can grab them at a corridor and say, I'm thinking of doing a PhD. It's the best way to start the relationship, organically. Organically. Don't force it. Bonus tip 3. At one point or another, you'll get rejected, or you won't even get an email back. Don't take it personally. Now, I take most things personally, apart from paper rejections, because they're not personal. It's all about anything that is professional, I don't take personal. If it is made personal, I'll take it personal. If they call you names, take it personal. But if they reject you, it could be 1,000 reasons. It could be they have already 5 PhD students, 6 PhD students. In the UK, the maximum that QAA suggests, I think, is 5 or 6 PhD students. Anything after that is not fair for the PhD students themselves, because you are, as an academic, you get burned out, or you're not going to do a great job. Other reasons is, as I said earlier, too many research projects. They have been blessed and cursed with a job like mine, where they are administrator, heavily administrative. They have a leadership position, and do not even ask how many emails we get if we are in administration. So, good luck. Take it easy. Start early. That's another bonus tip. Don't leave it for the last minute and panic, and then fall back for the machine gun approach. And all I'm going to wish you is look after yourself, have fun, keep enjoying what you're doing, keep enjoying the writing, and the search for truth. That's what your PhD is going to be. A search for truth and a research apprenticeship. Okay, good luck. Enjoy the rest of the sunset. And the waves. Enjoy the waves.